screen, Shabab?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. طيب, last time what we described in the previous part of this SQL chapter was some basic types of retrieval queries in SQL. And we just give, let's say, some generality about the expression that can be used in the SQL language. Okay, and there are other many additional features that can be used to specify more complex retrieval from the database. And this is what we are going to see in this section, which is called more SQL or complex queries. Okay, last time we looked at the basic queries. Okay, and today, inshallah, we're going to start to see some complex based on the need of what you are looking for. In terms of the query or the complex query, one of the additional features that can be specified in any SQL query, it is what is known as nested query. Okay, we're going to see some nested query. We're going to talk about join table, outer join. We're going to talk about aggregate function and grouping. And these are very powerful things that can be used in SQL query. We start by looking at what is known as nested. ايش معناها nested شباب؟
مركب دكتور.
مركب يعني واحدة. نعم, query inside the query. Okay. Yeah. When you see that here we talk about a complete select form or select from where. Okay, you will see that select something from something where condition. Where we can find that one, we will find it within a where clause or what is known as another query, okay, which is called the outer query. What you will see, you will have, for instance, you will have inner query. Okay, for instance, I will have one query, the bigger, and we will have another nested query. Okay, this one. This one will be, for instance, select. Okay, I'm not going to select something from where. Okay, now in this where, okay, inside this where we will find this query, which is known as inside it. And what is inside? We will find another select something from something from the table and under some condition. Okay, and this select, this statement is the one that is specified by the nested. Okay, this query, the outer, this query, هذه برا, this query is called outer query. الكويري الخارجية. Outer query. And this one is called the inner query. الكويري الداخلية. This one. Okay, شباب? So this is what is known as nested. Nested معناها we do have outer query and inside it we do have the inner query. In terms of SQL statement, where do we specify inside it? It is inside after the where of the first query. Okay, this is the first query, and this is the second query. Now this second query is after the where of the first one. Okay, so let's have a look at some example. Then we talk about later about. We use the in operator to do some comparison. Okay, we're going to talk about it later. Let's have a look here. Okay, if you can see here, if you pick up select distinct P number from project, where P number. Okay, now this is where condition, and I will talk about the inner. And this is the nested query. We do have, you can see select from where. Inside where? Inside the where condition of the first query. We say that we do have here, we do have a nested query. Query inside query. This is inside the biggest query or the outer. Okay, Shabab? And it's not only that one. Inside that where we do have another query. We have two queries. Or, okay, you can see here where, or P number in, we do have another query. Select from where. Now this in, I'm going to talk about that in. Okay, it is known as a comparison operator. That means it compares a value with a set of values V. وش معناها with set of values V? A value which is P number. This is the attribute. Now, if we go and say how this will be assessed by the DBMS, the DBMS will do what? The DBMS will calculate the first or the inside the query, the nested query. What you will get from here, Shabab, if you just forget about this one, what you will get, just as expression in English, not necessarily the right data. The execution of this query will return what?
B number when D number equal D number another table.
Yes, that means what we are going to get here. We are going to select P number. And P number can be 1, can be 2, can be any number. It can be null. صح ولا لا? We are going to execute this query and we want to return the project number. That means we are going to have some set. For instance, what we are going to have, let's say I will have a set of values, which is P number, project number. This is our set. This is what will be returned. Okay, it will return some value. We can have 1, we can have 2, 3, we can have nothing inside it. Okay, guys? So let's imagine now, let's think now, let's suppose that we do have project number 5 and project number 4, project number 10. This is what the P number that was returned by this query. Okay, Shabab? Now what we are saying here, where P number in, it will go to select P number, it will pick up the first P number project number and compare that project number that has been selected here in this query and verify whether that project number is an element of P number. When we say in, okay, we are asking whether that P number here is one of the element of the set or the result of the execution of this statement, which is this set. For instance, if I pick up in the first query, select P number, let's say the first P number that we selected was, let's say 6. Okay, the first P number equals to 6. Okay, this is the result. Let's suppose that this is the result we got from this statement. P number, we pick up the first P number, it was 6. Now, we do have here where P number in, we call it here. That means we have to verify if the first P number of my first row, okay, let's suppose that you do have here rows, okay, and you do have P numbers, for instance. Let's say suppose that now P number. We do have a column called P number, and inside it we do have, for instance, 6. Then we do have, for instance, 9. Then we do have 5. Okay, let's suppose that these are our values, P number. So what the query will do? It will go to the first line, first row, this one, 6, and compare it. Is the number 6 in this set? Is it in or not? Is it an element of this set?
No, it's not.
It is not. That means I will not pick it. I will not return it here. Here we are saying select. راح ناخذ فقط the P number that verifies this condition. Because 6, the first P number, is not in, and it's not an element, ولا ماهوش عنصر of this مجموعة set, I will not write it down on the screen. And I will go to the second P number. I will verify The second P number from project, is it in the execution of this query? I will look. Is 9 inside this? No, I will not return it. Then I will go to number 5. Is 5 in P number in this set? Yes.
Yes.
That means it will return as an output. Let's say consider this is your screen. It will return number 5. It says this number 5 verifies this condition. It is inside it. It is one of the elements of the execution of this statement. واضح شباب? Okay. That means for every, you go for instance, for every tuple, it will compare. It will pick up the first tuple or the first row P number, verify if it is in معناه هل هو ضمن the result ولا نتيجة execution of this statement. معناه this statement will be executed first. بعدين يعطيني السات، يعطيني مجموعة. Okay, result. Here what we will have here. Later, select from where it will be a set. We call here, for instance, okay, you will have, for instance, where P number, okay, where P number, they were writing it like this. We're saying that whether, sorry, is the P number, where P number, is it in, is the result? If it is yes, it will be written. Otherwise, it will not be written. And this is with regard to the first execution, the first statement. And here we do have or. معناه this P number will be returned if this is verified or this is verified. The same thing. It will return, it will execute select P and O from works on employee where ESSN and last name equals Smith. Okay. It will, if this one will return some number of P and O, a set of P and O, I will verify whether that P number is element of this result or la. معناه here we will have two sets. The set which is the result of this statement and another set مجموعة ولا result of this statement, and verify if my P number, the first row, is one of the element of this or this, it will return that P number. Otherwise, it will not return that P number. Okay, Shabab? So that means here what we are doing here, what we are trying to do. Okay, we are trying, for instance, to select the project number of the project that have an employee, for instance, with last name is Smith. Okay, Shabab? Involved, and he is a manager. This Smith last name, he is a manager on that department. I will return the project number where this guy is a manager. The second, for instance, the second nested query, it will select the project number of project that have an employee with last name is Smith, involved as a worker, normal worker. Here we are looking for Smith, who is manager. Here we are looking for someone, an employee Smith, which is a normal employee. Now we are going to return any project number where there is someone who is called Smith, who is involved as a manager or he is involved as an employee. And this is what we are looking for. Or we do have here or. Okay, that means this in will return something. It will return something. If it is null, we don't have anything. And we can do the same thing here. If you can see here, we can use the where clause. We are looking for two values. Instead of comparing only one attribute, we are saying select distinct ESSN from works on where P&O hours, cell in, select P&O hours from where. If you can see here, Shabab, don't do that mistake. What if I didn't put hours here? I will just put select P&O. What will happen?
To look for the P&O that.
What about hours? It will be wrong. Here we are comparing two values. I am searching for project number and number hours in this select P&O hours. P&O hours, this statement, if it is correct, for instance, if I do have ESSN equal this number, it will return a pair of piano hours, piano hours, piano hours. Then I will compare here. Okay, I will compare. I will go to any ESSN and look his piano and hours and see whether that the pair of piano hours is inside. Okay, it will inside this return. That means it will select the ESSN of all employees who work the same project. معناه project and the number of hours combination. Okay, where we do have this guy, they are working on the same project where the person with this ESSN works on.
You said, I think you said this one doesn't work. Why doesn't it? Like combining piano and hours.
Because we are looking for the number of hours worked on some specific project. Okay, you pick up project 5. You see that this guy in project number 5 has worked 10 hours. So we want this combination. The project number and the number of hours. This is combination.
Yeah, why is it a problem?
It's not problem. I said it is problem if you don't put here in the nested query. If you omit, will skip, you search only for, you put only piano, you didn't put hours. You put hours and you didn't put piano. This will be a problem.
Yeah.
Because here what we are looking for any employee who has worked on the same project with the same number, for instance, who has worked on the same combination of, let's say, the same project where a person with this ESSN has worked on that specific project. Okay, Shabab? We do have, now.
So in that example, it will return SSN, right? With these conditions.
Yes, it will return an employee SSN if that employee, his project number and number of hours is the same as this guy, where ESSN equals to this. Okay?
Clear.
That means in this nested query, it will look for in the table works on for the employee who has ESSN 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and it will return piano hours. Okay, معناها if this guy has worked in many projects, it will return the combination project 5, 10 hours, project 6, 7 hours, and so on. So it will return a set. Okay, it will return a set, which is, for instance, okay, this types. Okay, pair of numbers. For instance, I might have here a project number, number of hours, project number of hours, and so on. It is this is my set that will be returned. Okay, for instance, okay, let's say you do have order. This is what will be returned. Project number, number of hours, project number, number of hours. So it will look at, it will go to the first row, okay, first row from works on, see the combination of piano hours. If, for instance, the first row has 410, that 410 is inside this, it is inside, it is one of the elements of this result. It will return that ESSN. If not, it will not return that ESSN.
Clear.
Okay. Okay. Now, what we can have also in the other comparison operator, we can have, for instance, if you want to compare a single value, equals to any. Okay, equals to any. Equals to any, معناه it's like in. Okay, or equals to sum. معناه not necessary. Here we talk about any value. Okay, it will return true if that value is equals to some operator. Okay, or equals to any value. That means here we are comparing. Let's have a look if we do have here. Yes, here you see this is in. Okay, here let's have a look at the all. You remember what we said all. Here we are saying, for instance, that we are looking for an employee whose salary is greater than the salary of all employees in department 5. What does that mean? We are looking for someone. Okay, we want to return his name and first name. If his salary is greater than all the salary of the employee in department 5. So if you can see here, we do have a nested query. We are select salary from employee where DNO equals 5. معناه we are going to get a set of salary. صح ولا لا? This nested query. It will return the salaries of employee DNO 5. If you go to the table, okay, this is an example. This is the employee, and this is DNO, and this is the salary. Whenever it does find someone who is working in number 5, okay, Shabab, it will return what? Yes? We said select salary.
Yeah.
That means if this employee has DNO equals 5, I will return this value, 30,000. If I go to this guy works for department 5, okay, from employee, it will return 40,000. This guy works for number 5, I will return 38,000. This guy works for number 5, I will return 25,000. صح ولا لا? Yes, Shabab?
Yeah.
Doctor, then it will compare it with the original condition.
معناه it will return what? It will return 30,000. معناه يجيني set. حيعطيني result is a set. 30,000, 40,000, 38,000, 25,000. These are the values that it will be returned. Then what we do? We are interested on which employee? We are interested on the employee whose salary is greater than all those salaries returned by my query. صح ولا لا? Hey, this is what we are saying. We are saying, give me the last name and first name of the employee who has a salary greater than all معناها greater than everyone. معناها it will be greater than what? It will be greater than 38,000, than 25,000. Okay, this is what will return. That means it will be greater than 30, than 40, than 38, than 25. So what do you think? Which one will be returned? Which of these employee verifies this condition? Now?
The second one. Are we comparing first the
لا, we are saying all. We are comparing to all. معناها the employee that you are going to pick up, his salary should be greater than 30 and 40 than 38, than greater than 25. Which one?
Yeah, that's the last one then.
The last one, 55. This one will be returned. It will return this name, first name and last name. Now,
What if
I cannot hear you well. It's disconnected. Yes? I cannot hear you well. Sorry. Okay, Shabab, that means it will return an employee whose salary is greater than this. But if you put, for instance, it is greater to some, equals to some. If we wrote where salary equals to some, ايش معناها equals to some؟
دكتور كتب السؤال حقه يقول what if two people are the greatest value, like they share the same value and they are the greatest.
It will be returned both, because what we are looking for the last name and first name. It will return the last name and first name
For both,
of course, yes. Here we are going to pick up everyone, every name who has a salary, every employee اللي عنده salary حقه أكبر من الجميع، من جميع الامبلويي اللي يشتغلون في department number 5. Because here the execution of this one, it will return a set. تطلع لكم كل السالاريز of the employee اللي يشتغلوا في department number 5. معناها هيصير عندكم مجموعة هنا number of salaries 25, 38, whatever. بعدين أجي إلى الemployee table. I will go to the first one. Is the first one his salary أكبر من أي واحد هنا? If yes, I will return last name, first name. Otherwise, I will not return it. Clear, guys?
Dr. Bus, the 55K is not in the department number 5.
It is in the doesn't matter. هنا شوف هنا here did we say here it should be in department number 5 ولا لا? Did we say something here about department number? لا ما قلنا شيء. هنا we are saying here this salary أعطيني salary of employee يشتغلوا في department number 5. I want to compare anyone who has in the employee department in the employee table who has his salary أكبر من أي واحد يشتغل في department number 5. واضح؟
So Doctor, there's another person في التيبل.
نعم.
في التيبل في واحد فيه 43,000. ايوه
43 will be returned. Yeah, good. Okay. حتى 43 will be returned.
Okay.
Because 43, the result of that nested query it will return 30,000 or 40 or 38 or 25. 43 is greater than all of them. greater أكبر من 30 40 25 25. معناه it will return 43 and 50. Thank you very much. Okay, guys. So this is the way how you can use the all. All معناه أكبر من الجميع. If we did put, for instance, greater than some ولا equals to some, equals معناه equals to some ولا less ولا less or equal ولا different, معناه you do the combination. Okay, some معناه مجموعة. ولو we verify only one, it will return it. Okay, here for instance we do have inside a nested query. Sometimes what you can have, sometimes you can have the same attribute name can be found in the outer query with inside the query, and this is the problem. Sometimes we do have ambiguity. Okay, we do have ambiguity. What we can use what is known as aliases. Aliases معناه, okay, we give it like a name. Let's say here select. If you can see here we put e dot f name, e dot last name. ايش هو هذا الاي؟ Here we specified it. We said that from employee as e. معناها نقول له احنا الان في دي بي ام اس will recognize an employee by e. يعني حتى instead of writing employee, you don't need to write down employee. Just represent that employee by e. We say e dot ssn, e dot f name. Okay. هنا d dependent as d. معناها راح نعرف dependent وكأنه اسمه d الحين. We didn't change the name شباب. Don't do that mistake. Employee with dependent table still have their name, the employee dependent, but here just for the query inside SQL. The query, instead of writing down dependent dot dependent name, we just put d. اختصار فقط. e.sex equals d.sex. Here we are talking, because here if you are saying male equals male, ما تعرف ايش هو الميل الاول والميل الثاني. Here we are saying the male in employee, for instance, equals to male in the department. Sorry, dependent. This is what is known as aliases. لقب وكأنه يلقب. Employee في SQL أعطيناه اسم مؤقت, we called it E. Dependent, we give it a temporary name called D. And now we are going, instead of writing dependent, we are just using D. That represent dependent. We are using E like in the employee and so on. This is just notation, okay? Just to remove any ambiguity. Okay, Shabab? This is known as aliases. We can use, for instance, specific value when we use in. Okay, the same thing for the in. Let's say here, we want to retrieve the social security number of all employee who work on project 1, 2, and 3. If you can see here, select distinct ESSN from works on, okay, where P and O in 1, 2, 3. Instead of having a nested query like what you did with the in, the previous in, we can have, instead of having in, we can replace that nested query by a set. We are saying that give me a social security number of an employee that from works on whose number is 1 ولا 2 ولا 3. in معناه It can be 1, it can be 2, it can be 3. If my row or my tuple has social security number equals to 1, it will be returned. If it equals to 2, it will be returned. If it equals to 3, it will be returned. This is like the result of a nested query. Instead of having a nested query, we can have directly a set where we do comparison. We compare, here we call it explicit set of values. Instead of having a query وبعدين هذا nested query will be executed, then we will get the result. If you know the result from the beginning, or you are searching for something from the beginning, you know what you are searching for, you just specify it directly. Okay? We mentioned the as, okay, followed by the desired name. Of course, here also, we are talking about how you are going to return it. This is what you will be displayed. Select e.last name as employee name, s.last name as supervisor name. Now, for instance, if you put select, if you didn't put this as, what you will get as an output, you will get as an output L name. You will get s dot last name. Okay, you will get last name. But in order just to make that the output, will have the result understandable by anyone, so we are saying as an output, what you will return as an output, just display employee name that will represent this last name. Supervisor name, write down supervisor underscore name, which represent the s.l name, which is here. Employee as E, employee as S. Okay, Shabab? This is using the as. As معناه here we are looking about what we are going to rename. We are renaming the attribute that will appear as a result, that will be displayed as an output. We are renaming them. That's just as a result, as I mentioned. We are not renaming the attribute name in the table itself. To rename them, we need to do the data, we need to use an alter table and set, we change the name by using the appropriate query to change the name in the table. Here we are talking about the result of the SQL. Just display, just an output. Okay, the table with still with its corresponding attribute without any changes. But here we are talking changing the result, changing how the way we are going to display.
Doctor?
Now,
how there are two employee, one as E and one as S?
the same thing, doesn't matter. Here we want to make difference. We want to make it different here. Okay, to make supervisor different from the last name. Okay, it doesn't matter here because we are using S here. That S, this S, in order to make that to remove any ambiguity, because here we are talking because we do have employee as a normal employee and the supervisor as a normal supervisor. So this is why just to make differentiation between supervisor and the normal employee.
Okay.
Okay. We do have another very important concept in SQL, which is known as joined table. إيش معنى joined table? Here we are saying to specify a table, we are going to بتعطينا another table resulting from a join operation in the from clause of query. إيش معنى join operation? It's like you are going to combine two tables in the from. Don't forget, Shabab, don't make that mistake. When you do the join operation, it should be after in the from clause. Here, don't write that join, or don't write this statement here or in the where statement. Here we are talking about from. From إيش معنى? Here we are doing join. We are joining, we are combining two tables. We are combining employee and department, and we do the combination of row from employee and row from department with one condition where we do find DNO in employee equals to D number in department. That means it will return here, this one, this join will return a long table or a long row from employee to having all the employee attribute and all the department attributes, which one with condition that the DNO in employee equals to D number in department. If this is the case, it will return, it will do the join. We're going to see some example later. Okay, this is, let's say, one of the join which is known as the inner join. Inner join, this is the syntax. You select the column from table 1, inner join table 2, on, you should specify on table 1 equals table 2 colon. And this is what will return. If you do have table 1 and you do have another table 2, it will return the intersection. All the attributes of table 1 and all of the attributes of table 2 will be returned if in table 1 intersect with table 2. ايش معنى intersect؟ معناه this is what we are going. If table 1, the column in table 1 is equals to column in table 2. If this is the case, it will return this shaded area. Okay, let's have a look at an example. Okay, let's suppose, okay, we do have these two tables. To understand quickly, you do have supplier ID. These are the number, supplier name. Another table, we have order ID, supplier ID, order date. Okay, what we are going to write? We are going to write select supplier ID from suppliers, supplier name from suppliers, order date from orders. Okay, this is the supplier. We want to get supplier ID, supplier name, and order date. From where? From suppliers. Okay, this is the table supplier and this is table order. We are saying return this supplier ID, supplier name, supplier order date. From where? From suppliers. راح ناخذ suppliers table. We do the inner join مع order. معناها راح we will go into create a big table, in which case where we do have supplier ID for suppliers equals to supplier ID in orders. معناه this is supplier ID in suppliers equals to supplier ID in orders. معناه what will be returned here? What, or let's say if you go to the first supplier ID هذا 1000, we compare it with supplier ID in the second table 1000. Is it equal ولا لا? Yes, guys?
Yeah, yes, doctor.
Okay, supplier ID هنا equals to supplier ID هنا. معناه we will return what we are saying. We are going
supplier
to
ID.
Supplier ID, supplier name, and the order date that correspond to, this is the on, this is what we specify, on. Each time you do have supplier ID, they had the table suppliers, equals to supplier ID في order table, طلع لي أعطيني supplier name, order date, and supplier ID. This is what we did. We 1000 هذا supplier ID في table هذه equals to supplier ID in this table. That means I will return supplier ID 1000, supplier name IBM, and this is the order date. I will go to the second supplier ID. If this supplier ID equals to this, it is not equal. I will not return anything. I will compare it to the second one. Is it equals to 1001? Yes. I will return this name Hewlett Packard with this corresponding. I will compare it with the third one. It's not equals. I will not return it. I will go to the next line. 1002. Is it equals to 1000? No. Is it equals to this one? No. It is not equal to the third. I will not return anything. I will go to the third one. Compare it. 1000 is not equal. It's not equal to this. It's not equal to this. I will not return it. That means what I will return, this is the result. I will return only 1000 and I in 1001. So you can see here we do have a table. It's like a result of table where you do have combination. Order date is taken from this table and supplier name is taken from this one, and that supplier ID that we got here 1000 and 1001 belongs to both of the table 1000, 1001. It is here 1000, 1001. This is what we said we do have on. Okay, on معناه we should have a condition. This is known as inner join. We do inner join of table suppliers with table orders with the condition we should have this equals to this. We cannot do inner join without that on. Okay, Shabab? Okay,
Say
guys?
again.
We are saying that what we are going to get, if we do the inner join. Okay, Shabab, we are doing to the inner join with one condition. Here we said our condition is on supplier ID, on some specific attribute. Each time you define supplier ID value في suppliers table, هذه هنا supplier ID in this table is equals to the supplier ID in the second table. What I will return? I will return the supplier name, will order date, with supplier ID with this condition. هذا معناه أين جو. نعم.
Why are we saying on instead of where?
نعم.
Why are we saying on instead of where? Previously, for condition, we used to use
because we are using شوف هنا we are using the inner join. inner كلمة inner الinner دائما تمشي مع الon. هذه this is the syntax. Okay, the syntax for the inner join is like this. We don't have where condition. Okay.
Yes.
You can, if you want, you can add later the where condition. This is here. We do have here where condition, but here I'm talking about this one. هنايا هذه شباب شوفوا هذه instead of being only one table, the employee will a department. What we are doing here by using this join, it's like we are creating a big table, okay, that contains all the attribute of employee and all attribute of department, with which condition? Not all of them, only on this condition, on DNO equals D number. معناه it goes to the employee. Let's say employee and department. Employee department. It will go to the employee and department. If you look at the employee department table, this is my employee. Okay, it is here good. Okay, this is my employee and this is my department. صح ولا لا? And we said on DNO معناها في الemployee equals D number في department. I will go to the first line. DNO is equals to 5. And I will look at D number in this table equals to 5. معناها what I will return. Okay, I will have all this information. شايفين هذه شباب? All this information plus all this information in one row. It's like you are creating a new table. When you do join, you are creating a new table that will contain all the information, all the attribute of the row from the employee table with the department table, with one condition where you do have that matching. DNO equals D number. For instance, if I go to this DNO and compare it with 4, this DNO 5 is not equals to D number 4. That معناها that this will not be returned. It will return only all this information 5 with this information. This is DNO 5. It is equals to 5. I will return all this information plus all this information, and I will go. Number 4 is not equal to the first one. I will do the same thing. Then I will compare. I will go to 4. We finished with 5. I will go to 4. DNO 4. DN number 5 is not equal. I will skip this line. I will go to the next line. 4 is equals to 4. Yes. Just return in my new table all these attributes plus all these attributes and so on. معناه you will go to have a bigger table. What you will have a table, okay, a large table where you do have here where you have all the attribute. Okay, let's call it here. Let's consider this is my new table after join. What I will have in these rows, I will have all attributes of, for instance, employee and department where DNO equals to D number. هذا راح يطلع لكم في every line. On every line في new table it will return all these attributes تاع employee وتابع الديبارتمنت with condition DNO equals D number. معناها يصير عندكم رو كبير جدا، يعني يصير عندكم table with all the attributes that I have mentioned here. All this attribute هذا كل values plus all these values will be in this line, and do the same thing for the second one. This is what is known as a join operation. Join operation معناتها تسوي combination. تجمعون مع بعض all the attribute of the first table with all the attribute of the second table with the condition if, and that condition will be specified in that on. Okay, هذا في on. If DNO equals D number, طلع جيب لي كل attribute of employee plus attribute of department, and this will be big table. معناها this comparison will from, it was like here you are creating a new table. Okay شباب, this is known as a join operation.
دكتور,
or inner join. نعم.
What's the difference between the normal join and the inner join?
That's general, because we have, because of the time, we just remove. We can have right join, left join. Okay, so this is the join, normal join. Okay, we're talking about the normal join when we specify something based on as a general. But this is one type of join where you do inner join. That means you do combination of these two of shaded area intersection. And sometimes you do have some joins that will return only the element that belongs to all other attributes that belongs to table 1 and don't belong to table 2. ولا العكس. You will return all the attributes that belongs to table 2 and not belonging to table 1. But this with the inner join, we are returning all the attributes, okay, that belongs to table 1 and table 2 with one condition. This is the intersection. معناها on some specific attribute that are equals, ولا the same in table 1 and table 2. This is what we mentioned in our on. Okay, when we specify on, معناها this is our condition. Supplier ID in suppliers equals to supplier ID in order. That means they are here inside this attribute, this shaded area, and they will return all the attribute. Okay, شباب? Yes, guys?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to have an extra lecture, Shabab, to finish, because we need to have to finish another chapter, and I want to have some time to do some practice in the previous chapters. So I will suggest if you can have today at 12:15 an extra lecture to continue with the remaining chapter, few slides, about 14 slides to finish it, to see the grouping and some aggregate function, in order tomorrow to start another chapter, and we will have a time later, inshallah, to do some practice. Do you have any exam today at 12 يا شباب؟ 12:15 يعني بعد ما أصلي الظهر إن شاء الله.
أنا عن نفسي ما أقدر، بس you can record it in the.
Yes, it will be recorded and we will explain it inshallah.
Yeah, I can check it.
Okay. So inshallah today at 12:15 we're gonna have an extra lecture to finish this chapter in order to start tomorrow inshallah a new chapter. And these are very important concepts, inshallah. This is a very important concept which with regard to what is known as aggregate function. Aggregate function معناه عندي count, عندي sum, maximum, minimum, average of numbers from the attribute. It is very important to have an idea about how we can have such query or aggregate inside